everybody. Good morning. I always have such a good time trying to get everything going here. Okay. It looks like we're here. I'll just check on this one. Always so much fun getting online every day. It's really fun. Anyways, good morning, everybody. Okay, I think I can see everyone. Let's just have a look here. Okay, so we're going to do a couple things today, and I'll move over here because I think you can see me better over here. Look at it, where the hi Jane. Okay, I'm on. It worked. It's awesome. Yeah, having some internet difficulties. I know you guys said that yesterday a few people couldn't get on too also, and so yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I was having a bit of a hard time with getting on this morning too. Now my phone's jumping around. Okay, let's try that. Let's see where it wants to sit. Okay, good enough. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to do something creative, and it's going to be with onions. It feels like I start with onions almost every day. Oh, they're flying all over. And so what I want to do is stuff some portobellos, and then that'll be using a little bit of the leftovers from last night. So that's creative because we really don't want to waste food. And so I'm going to save the little onion root because I have been re-rooting them and putting them in the garden, and it's growing greens. You know, I mean, it probably won't grow an onion, but it will. It is growing green, so why not? You know, you kind of get like your green onion out of it, which is super awesome. So yeah, so if you haven't been on before, it's really helpful to always wash your vegetables before you put them in the fridge, and then they're ready. And especially now during these times, you seriously need to be washing everything before you bring it into your house or put it into your fridge or whatever. And so everything's pre-washed, and then this is just hot water, just a little bit of water in the pan here, and I usually make my 15-minute meals that are healthy and quick by just heating up the pan first, getting it really hot, and then with a little bit of water with no oil, and then that starts the process of cooking really super fast. And then that way, if you're making a soup, you just add more liquid at the end, you know, but it just is, I find it super helpful to get things going quickly. So we have portobello mushrooms here. So the what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the portobellos, and then that will be we'll be putting them in the oven later today for dinner tonight. So I'm just going to take the little stems out carefully because I don't want to break them in half, so I might just use my knife. And if you guys know of anything, I'm going to try and twist it. Okay, that seems to work. As you know, I'm not a professional cook. I just share how I make fast, healthy, easy meals for me because I try to eat really healthy and create things that are quick and easy. So there must be a more professional way to de-stem the portobellos, which I obviously know nothing about. We're just here to enjoy learning about healthy foods and having fun. So the portobellos have antioxidants. They are, all mushrooms have something called chitin, C-H-I-T-I-N. And so that one just snapped right off. So the mushrooms have something called chitin, which is really hard for humans to digest. So it is really important to cook your mushrooms. Even the little Money's mushrooms, the little button mushrooms, the crimini mushrooms, really and truly they should be cooked for us to be able to absorb the nutrients, because the chitin kind of binds those nutrients and it is basically undigestible for humans to digest the chitin. And the so the mushrooms have like they have potassium. They are anti-inflammatory as well, and so are the onions. The onions are very anti-inflammatory. They're anti-inflammatory for the body, but they're also antihistamine. And so the raw onions are antihistamine, and we all know that because when you cut up an onion and you start crying, it's opening up your sinuses, and so it's a natural antihistamine. Yeah, so I was asked, one of the questions that we had from these fun interactive Facebook lives is the I'm just looking here, is the questions and answers. One of the questions was about the antihistamines. And so there is a formula that you can, like, it all depends on what your allergy is. If the allergy is a food allergy, it's totally different. And quite often the food allergies are quite often related to leaky gut syndrome, which is where there's a permeability in the well, usually it's the transverse part of the colon, and it has gotten misused. I don't want to say it's damaged, but it's been you know, the digestion has not been perfect, and so the food has to be digested into a certain consistency before it goes into the intestine, small intestine. And the small intestines where pretty much 80% of your nutrients are absorbed, especially the vitamins, and then your large intestine really helps to utilize the minerals. And so what happens through not digesting foods properly and having the food basically release a lot of toxicity, creates inflammation. And, you know, long story short, we can do another video on this because I have a whole lecture on it, but long story short, it can lead to I'm just cutting up garlic here, if you guys can see. It can lead to leaky gut syndrome, which creates a lot of inflammation, inflammatory bowel conditions, you know, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, colitis, as well as allergies. And so that also tends to make you more prone to food allergies as well. So it all depends on what the allergies are. For the onions, mostly, of course, they affect the sinuses and the respiratory, right? Because it gets everything running. And the yellow onions are way more antihistamine. They have way more antihistamine in them than the white or the red onions. So I'm actually, you know what? I'm not going to put this in yet because I don't want that garlic to be floating around in the water. I'm just really, because we're doing this live on the video, we're starting the water first and then getting the video going and everything. So long story short, what I'm trying to say is I put a little bit too much water in there. I usually just put a little bit, and then it starts, the least amount of water, the faster the onions start to cook. And so we're going to be okay with that I put a little too much water until the water dissipates. Then we're going to add the garlic. So in the meantime, we're going to what are we going to do? We can do different things. Okay, so we have a question there. What's the difference between chopping up garlic fresh and having it chopped up and sitting out, meaning airing out, getting more properties? I really don't know about that if you leave it sitting out, it has more of the properties. I have left it out. You know, I think most people have, and I know that it gets as it dries, it gets more concentrated. So perhaps that's where that theory comes from, that it gets more concentrated when you leave it out and it starts to dry out. Because anything herbal, like I'm a certified herbalist, I'm not a certified garlic expert, but I do know with herbs that when you dry them out, it breaks down the cellular structure, which makes the medicinal properties and constituents more available, more bioavailable. So when you're using your fresh herbs and you're pouring hot water over them, you will get some of the medicinal properties, but not nearly as much as when they dry and it breaks down the cell walls, and then properties are more available and often more concentrated. Now, it's not with every herb, but it's with like pretty much 90%. So that could be what they mean with the garlic becoming more potent, is that it concentrates. And I know when I've used garlic that's been peeled and sitting out for a few days, it takes on a thicker consistency, chewier consistency. And I don't know if it's stronger though. It's almost sweeter. So I really don't know. But I do know that when I chop it and I put it in the fridge, like we have made a garlic and ginger together, and so we blend the garlic and ginger together in the magic bullet, and then you keep that in a jar on hand in the fridge, and it's quite fresh, and it you know, even after a week, it still smells super fresh garlic and super fresh ginger. So I do know that. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do a little trick. We're going to do something tricky. We're going to take my last night's little potatoes. I made little potatoes, bake them. And so we're just gonna mush them. Okay, I was gonna slice them. Should I slice them or mush them? Maybe I'll slice the big ones and then we're gonna mush it. We're gonna basically make a garlic mashed potato stuffing for the portobellos. So that's the idea that I have to use up my little potatoes. So I'm just gonna kind of dice them and put them back in the bowl because we're gonna smash them up in the bowl. And actually, you know what? That was my plan with the garlic, but I often, if you've seen this before, I often get distracted by trying to talk and then running off on a whole different stream of fun information. And then I kind of forget what I was doing until after I remember what I was doing. So we're just going to kind of dice these up here and put them back in the bowl while we wait for those onions to come down and start to actually hit the pan. And so these are little baby potatoes. I'm so excited to have spring potatoes. Of course, they're not mine. Mine aren't ready yet. But still very exciting to have fresh potatoes. We had fresh carrots yesterday from the garden. Okay, so we have some great information here, and this is why I love doing the Facebook Live interactive with you guys. It's super awesome for the things that I don't know. When the garlic cloves are crushed, chopped, or chewed, an enzyme known as alliinase is released. Alliinase catalyzes the formation of sulfonic acids from L-cysteine sulfoxides. So there. Love it. That's awesome. And I will research that. That's one thing I do. I'm always really curious as to why things are the way they are. And I have done a lot of research, especially on the whole immune system with this whole COVID thing, and you know what we need to do and what would be helpful and what is enhancing the immune system. Okay, so we have an explanation. Thank you, Jane. So when you crush the garlic and you let it set out for about 15 minutes, it activates the enzymes. Oh yeah, I know, right? Don't we have fun? Activates the enzymes. So I guess it would be like, that's interesting. Because when you crush the garlic and you set it out and you let the enzymes activate, anything, like when I teach about nuts, raw nuts, really ideally they should be soaked before you eat them because it activates the enzymes, right? It starts the breaking down process of the vitamins and all of the minerals and everything that's in the nuts, all of that nutrition. It activates that because it's basically starting the sprouting process. So I do understand that, and I've taught that for years, that it's really important. That's why you sprout your nuts and your seeds, is to soak them, and then it activates the enzymes, and then they turn into superfoods, which gives you way more nutrition than having them just raw, and which is still 100% better than having them cooked or roasted or whatever. So I find that very interesting, that just letting the garlic out into the air activates the enzymes. So that's super awesome. I'm going to have to research that. So, yeah. So now, So now that you've said that, I think I am going to change my mind once again and put the raw garlic, although I love raw garlic, I'm going to put it in there and just warm it a bit. And then add the potatoes. So we're going to just gently saute some peppers too for it. And yes, I know roasted garlic is super awesome. I mean, garlic anything is like the most amazing. I love garlic. Garlic's like top of my list of favorite foods. And I'm super happy. I didn't have fresh garlic for a while there because I didn't want to go to the store. But you know, things are looking pretty good here. So I've been going to the store lately, carefully, and my garlic in my garden is coming along, so that will be awesome. I have quite a bit, not as much as I should. I only planted about 50, and I should have planted more the way I go through garlic. Okay, so we're going to add these red peppers too, and so the peppers are really high in vitamin C, and I'm going to add this yellow one too. He's starting to need some attention here. He's starting to wilt. Yeah, so the peppers have vitamin C, they have vitamin A, especially the red ones, and believe it or not, they have fiber too. So yeah, so peppers are good. The only thing that makes me sad about peppers is it's really hard to get organic peppers in the winter, you know, and I do try and kind of eat with the seasons, but you know, there's certain things that just really go really good with other things, and unfortunately we're used to the you know, the shipping around the world and having access to these things at times when we probably shouldn't. So yeah, so we're gonna just get this going, and so the water's gone, right? The water has all dissipated. We have the translucent onions, and just put the peppers in there. So I'm going to turn this on because I just want it to start breaking down those peppers a little bit. And I am going to add oil in this case. Often I don't, but I'm going to add some coconut oil just because it's going to, I find it really brings out the flavor of the garlic specifically seems to come out better with like a coconut oil or of course butter. But so clean spoon, that's what I'm after. Clean spoon. Okay, clean spoon for the coconut oil. So I'm just going to add a tablespoon of the coconut oil, not too much, and just get that. See, it adds a nice shine too, you know, and looks are really important when it comes to cooking healthy meals, because a lot of the healthy meals that I cook don't really, I mean, I cook a lot of things that most people wouldn't like. But I'm lucky that that we both have seen such great health benefits from eating things that are super healthy, aka not really that tasty. We've seen such health benefits that it's really important to incorporate different foods into your diet, like adding some dandelions to the salad, because the dandelions have so much more nutrition than the than the regular lettuce, you know, and things like collards and kale. Of course, most people are into kale now, so, but chards and bok choys and all the different vegetables, you know, and different things that most people don't use. Okay, so if you can see, that's turning really beautifully coated with the olive oil. So now I'm going to add my garlic and just get that in there. Whoops. Oh no. I dropped a precious piece on the floor. Okay, so that's not the only thing I drop on the floor. I'm a little bit in my little tiny space here. I do tend to not be able to have control of what's going on in this little space, so a lot of stuff falls on the floor. But that's okay. I have the composter right under the floor, so it goes into the compost. Okay, so we're just warming that garlic. Okay, and then we have chopped up my potatoes from last night, and what I'm going to do, because we're going to try and stuff these, I'm going to mash them with the masher too. I cut them, I'm going to mash them. You know, if you wanted to, this would probably be way more spreadable and maybe more appealing if the skins were off and they were really mashed. But because they're baby potatoes and they're organic, I didn't want to take the skins off because I was telling you guys last week, I think I was telling you about the potato peeling broth and how healthy that is. So whenever you can leave the peels on, it adds additional vitamins and minerals and things that you don't get from the food. So you can see that's just perfectly perfect. So I've kind of sort of mashed up the potatoes-ish, and I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to put this over here and just warm this up. So now I'm going to shut it off because I don't want the garlic overcooked. And yeah, so that looks good on its own, right? You could have that for breakfast, like potatoes, fried potatoes with garlic and peppers and onions, and that would be super, super awesome. Okay, so I am going to add a little bit of garlic salt, just because garlic with garlic is so much better. This isn't actually garlic salt, it's granulated garlic, just pure granulated garlic with no salt. And we're going to triple the garlic. I'm a garlic fanatic. This is minced garlic, dried minced garlic. So we're going to add some of that too, because I just love garlic, garlic, and garlic. And I do, you know, I know you guys are so used to me adding the cayenne to it, because I do like a little spice on there. Add some spice. And the cayenne increases the circulation. It's really helpful for headaches, migraines, anything where there's a constriction in the body. It helps to open everything up and move it. And so now we have more fantastic information. Whoa, going too fast here. If you don't chop the garlic and you keep it whole, cooking mellows garlic because the heat deactivates the allanase so that it doesn't react with alum to produce the odoriferous, flavorful compounds. See more. Love it. That's why a roasted whole head of garlic has such a delicate, delectable flavor, while raw chopped garlic is the strongest and stinkiest of all. Okay, so it deactivates the allanase to produce the heat does. And if you don't chop it. Oh, that's awesome. So this is what's really fun, you guys. Why we've been enjoying the Facebook Live so much is because we're interacting and being able to share information with each other, which is super awesome. And hi, Darlene. Hi, Manek. Hi. Yeah, we're getting lots of great information here about garlic, all of the information. Thanks to Jewel asking questions and Jane giving answers. And so, yeah, so super, super awesome. So, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of Celtic sea salt. And I love the Celtic sea salt because it really is more mineral tasting. It has a lot more minerals, so it's not very salty, really. It has more minerals. And then the little bit of the black pepper too. Everything always looks better with black pepper. Tastes better too, but I love the look of the little black sprinkles. So, yeah, so that's what we're going to do here. And I forgot my plate to put them on in. Okay, I'm just going to show you on the cutting board because these are just going to sit, go back into the fridge and sit until tonight, and then I'm going to put them on a little cookie sheet with just foil over it. Or actually, you know what, I have a roasting pan, a glass roasting pan that has a glass lid on it, so it'll be even better. You don't have to use foil. And so we're just going to stuff these like that, and cook them really slowly because I want the flavor, so you need a piece of red on there. It's always important to get the color right. I need another little piece of red on there. So that's what a lot of people have asked me about all my food pictures. I have a lot of food pictures. And to, you know, get it actually could use some green now that I'm looking at it. But I didn't cook any green or bring any green out. But you can put green onions or something green on there too. You can put anything green, broccoli, kale, collards, whatever you want to put. Anyway, so that's the looks of it. I won't put it in that because I'm using that for something else. But anyways, oh yeah, so cook it slow. Cook it slow, and you know, probably, you know, it all depends. Like, it depends on your oven, but I'm going to start mine at 300 and just have the lid slightly off, which is why normally I would use foil, but I do have a roasting pan that has a glass lid, and so I'll just shift the lid so that some of the steam can escape, so that it isn't too, you know, so that it steams, so that the mushroom stays soft, but it isn't so soft that it gets really, you know how sometimes well, obviously most mushrooms get really watery anyways. So I don't want it too watery, so I want a little bit of that steam to escape. So I'll squish it in there. Oh, look, I accidentally made the exact right amount of that there. And I better move that off there because it's going to keep getting hot. And then I'll show you the next thing. Okay, so we're going to put that there. So yeah, so lovely. You guys can see that okay? Beautiful. So that's dinner. It's going to be super yummy. The next other thing, because I still am, stick these somewhere. I still am very tender in my mouth from my stitches and my little ordeal. And so I'm still doing the silver. And I was going to post a thing on the silver, you know, researching it. It's got so many other amazing properties. I'm going to post that on there. Or I might have on my Facebook already. Anyway, so because I need something soft to eat for the next few days. So that's going to be the main course. And then what I did do here, and it's always good, you know, whenever you're cooking, a good hint whenever you're cooking is to cook extra when you're cooking. If you're cooking anyways, you might as well throw something else in for the next day. So when I was making the last night's dinner, I threw a couple of yams in, the sweet potatoes that we talked about yesterday, and so I threw them into the oven. I'm trying to think of what I made last night for dinner. Oh, potatoes. The potatoes we just used. Oh my gosh, yeah, potatoes and a can of peas. I did use a can of peas because I am very tender still, so I need soft. And then we had greens, so a little glass of greens with it. And the juicing that not at the same time though. The juicing should always be. Oh, bye, Monique. Nice to see you on here, popping in. Yeah, the juicing should always be done on an empty stomach to get the full nutritional benefits from it. But anyway, we did the greens, and so back to the yams. So I cooked them yesterday, and then after they were in the oven for an hour, like just to stay cool to where you can handle them, you just pull the skins off, and the skins just slide right off, which is super, super awesome. And so what we're going to do with this, and I'm going to what I'm going to do is just make it into a little mashed yam thing with with more garlic, and put it in like a little casserole. It's super boring. It's not anything that's gonna, you know, fascinate you guys at all. But anyways, that was the thing, because I did say I'd share with you what I would do with that. And like I say, this is pretty boring, but the point is that if you're cooking and you can throw something into the oven while you're cooking, I mean, it saves energy too, right? It saves time and energy. So I put those in, and then I peeled them off and I threw them in the fridge. And now, you know, this dish is made, and I really didn't spend more than the time to put them in the oven, and then, you know, a minute and a half to peel the skins off, and voila. So I can just stick that, throw a little bit of coconut oil in it, stick this in the oven, and so that's my my side dish. So yeah, so that's my point, and I am going to add more garlic, just a little bit of the granulated, and some salt and pepper, and I'm also going to add a little bit of cinnamon to this. So so it gives it a little bit of a more I was gonna say more Christmassy, more festive. It's more festive with the with a little bit of cinnamon in the yams. Okay, so cinnamon yams as the other side dish. Super easy if you cook two things at once, and I'm all about saving time and trying to eat healthy. So so that's the point there, to do as much as you can to save yourself some time. So the other thing I wanted to share with you, I'm just looking around here. Did I miss anything else? I don't think so. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. How hot is that? I can move that there. I'm still tripping over my tongue. Do you guys know what this is? This is, I'll try and hold it really still to where you can see it. It's Herb Robert. So it's like the Robert geranium. And this is the herb of the week. Oh, I have a little bit of cleavers in here with it. It was growing next to the cleavers. Okay, so I'll show you the cleavers. Can you see that? The cleavers are these long, skinny, well, now they're long. In the spring they were short. And they have the little tiny balls that stick onto your clothes, and they cleave. And if you feel the stem, very rough and catchy, like it'll just stick to whatever, like really stick. It even sticks to your skin. So so I might as well explain cleavers too, since cleavers wanted to be on TV as well. So the cleavers is really, really beneficial. I put it in my Vitality tea. It's good for the immune system. It's good for the lymphatic system. It's helpful for the reproductive system as well. And it's also good for the urinary tract. So it helps keep your urinary system running really well, as far as keeping the pH balanced, and helps to keep things moving, you know, so that there's, if you were prone to any kind of bacterial infections or UTIs or whatever, it's just really helpful in facilitating proper health and function in those areas, as well as being super important for the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is your immune system. So the your lymphatic system is the system that, like, if you your heart pumps your blood through your body, and your lymphatic system goes everywhere that your blood doesn't. So it's kind of, sort of, not exactly, but kind of sort of like your tears, right? It's like a clear fluid, and it's goes through your whole everywhere that there's clear fluid. I'm not explaining it very well. I do have a whole lecture on it. Basically, it's where your killer T cells and your helper cells and your immune system come to battle any kind of disease, any kind of virus, any kind of invasion of foreign things that shouldn't be in your body. And so it works with, it creates antigen numbers. That's your lymphatic system. Creates the antigen numbers and goes through and fights disease. And it's, I'll read you that lecture one day. Anyway, this works really, really well. So it's super helpful for the lymphatic system. And so if you do have cleavers in your yard, it's a really good time to gather them now, because, like I was saying yesterday about the lemon balm, that the energy's at its peak. And ideally, really, they should have been gathered a month before, when they're coming out of the ground, and they're all of the energy is going into the leaves and the flowers in some cases. And so but they're still good to gather now. So if you can get them, just dry them, put them in a tea. They are amazing. Cleavers is really amazing, helpful for your whole immune system. And then back to the little herbs that we were going to show today, that we're going to show the Herb Robert. So the Herb Robert is also used for tea. You can use the leaves. You can also use the flowers if you want to. But mostly, historically, the leaves have been used, and they're really good for stomach issues. So it's really good for helping with the stomach, with digestive issues, with colon issues, helpful with bowel issues as well. Like the whole mucous membrane through the stomach and the bowels, and just facilitating with all that. It's also really good for the liver and the gallbladder as a tea. It's really good. It's kind of like a really good tonic for everything. It's just super, super, it cleans things up, moves things out, cleans things up. That's why it works really good on the stomach, is it scavenges the free radicals. So, it kind of like cleans everything up, keeps everything moving, and helps to remove anything that shouldn't be there. So it's been used for years and years and years, and not very well known, and it grows, like it's growing pretty much everywhere now, in a lot of places. My mind went to everywhere, and so speaking of everywhere, I noticed that the all heal is growing, really growing everywhere, like everywhere in people's lawns. And I was going to talk about that. Maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow. But I found that really interesting, that on this time on the planet, the all heal is like super prevalent everywhere. And then we had the foxgloves everywhere too, which is heart medicine. Anyway, back to the herb, Robert. If you want to crush it, you can put it into salve or crush it, use it for mosquito bites, that kind of thing. So externally, it's been really, really good for that. If you were out in the woods, you can chew on the leaves for like mouth sores. If you had like a little canker sore or something like that. So it's really, really good for the immune system. And it's also, it has germanium. I always trip over that word, the germanium. It's almost like it's a geranium, herb, Robert. It's a geranium, but it is a geranium, sort of a geranium, and it has germanium. Yeah. Oh my God, we have so much fun. Germanium. I'm going to look it up. Germanium. Okay, germanium. Which is really good for the nervous system and brain function, nerve function and brain function. So geranium has germanium. I love it. Okay, so I don't know, Jewel. I'm going to have to think about that. I don't even know what that is that you've got on there. I don't know what a mozzie is. I don't know, but we'll find out. So that's the fun part about researching everything together, you guys. And, I am a certified herbalist. And having said that, I've been a certified herbalist for 25 years. And having said that, when we're we're in any profession, we tend to work with the things that are brought to our attention. And so when clients have come to me over the last 25 years, that's the road you go down, right? Same with the doctor. So it's very interesting that the energy, the people that come to you are what you're going to learn about and what you're going to work with the most. So mostly I've worked with a lot of the Western herbs in North American herbs, also some from India, some Ayurvedic, some traditional Chinese medicine, obviously homeopathy I've worked with a lot, essences and aromatherapy. But you get into that routine of working with whatever comes to your attention. And so it's very exciting that this year we are able to explore different herbs that, when I work with clients, I buy herbs that have they're tested, right? They're tested to have the amount of medicine, so to speak. They're tested to have that amount, because when I sell it to somebody or give it to somebody, I need to know that it's going to work right. So if you go wildcrafting, you don't know you don't know how much the medicinal properties are in it. You don't know if the soil it's grown in, it has everything that would make it the optimum herb for the purpose that you're using it for. And so I've always purchased herbs for clients, and obviously still do. But it's just been really fun this summer to find some things that are really growing around here that you can use on your own. And so I encourage you to go out and try some of these things, as long as you know for sure what it is that you're picking. Don't eat anything, don't ingest anything, don't touch anything unless you know for sure what it is. But these guys are pretty obvious and pretty easy. It would make a great tea. And so I'm spending this time that we have together, where we may not have access to everything that we need, you know, perhaps this winter. And so it's really good to know what's growing around us that can be helpful, useful, and also inexpensive, like free. So yeah, so anyway, so that's Herb Robert. It's Geranium Robertium, let's see, Robertium, I think. Robert Geranium. And it has germanium. Okay, that's it. I'm just having too much fun. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. And we'll come up with whatever else that we want to have fun with. And so have a really great day and enjoy your day. Get out there. I think the sun's gonna pop out this afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for hanging out. It was really fun. See you tomorrow.